Venom: The Last Dance, the final installment of the Venom franchise, or basically the Venom trilogy. And whatever reason, and maybe it's like it's silly, but it's not too silly. Maybe it's the dynamic between Eddie and Venom. Whatever the reason is, these movies are the only movies for Sony with these Spider-Man movies out, Spider-Man films, like your Morbiuses and your Madam Webs and Venom and all that. If they have made money, may not the most critically successful movies out there, but whatever the reasons, they make money. Like the first one made 800 mil, surprisingly made 800 mil, and then the second one made like 500 mil during the pandemic, during when theaters were coming out and people were getting back to the habit of coming back to the movies and having people feeling safe to go to the movies. It made 500 mil. So clearly, there's something. It could be a simple thing. These movies are like under 100 minutes long, so it could be like show times and that kind of thing. Anyway, but whatever the reasons, these movies made money. I basically call these Venom films the Fast and Furious of the comic book movies. Like they're not Natalie. No, like if you're looking for like Iron Man level writing, no, you're not getting that. Of Logan or Dark Knight or whatever, name your favorite comic movie, ain't that, okay? But I will say this, if you're not a fan of the Venom franchise, you're not gonna like the third one. This is not gonna be one of the situations where like, oh, I'm not a big fan of the Venom films, but that third one was kind of good. It ain't that situation. But if you love this trilogy or the first two films, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love this film. For me, is a Tales of Two Halves. Because the first hour, I'm like, this is a jumbled mess. This film has this fascination of needing to be so fast paced that it needs to be under 100 minutes long, to the point that scenes ain't connecting. Like there's a moment that happens in the first, I'll say in the 20-minute mark or whatever, where you got the military trying to find Venom. They're trying to find Eddie, they're trying to find Venom. Both of these characters are on the run. And the military are trying to hunt them down. And you got the scene, you have a scene where they're like, where's he? We need to find him, blah, 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 blah. And literally the next scene, it's the military finding them. I'm like, well, guess that was quick. There's no connection. How did they meet? How was they connected? Unless I missed something, but how the hell? And there's also character contradictions from the characters, or a sense of not caring that this is happening. Like, it's in the trailers, but, the Venom dancing, in Vegas, dancing with Mrs. Chang. And to Dancing Queen, actually, to be specific. And I'm like, in the context of the film, I'm like, I get it. Like, before things get heavy, before we enter into the third act, let's have some fun, you know what? Let's have some fun. Let's have, Venom dancing with Mr. Chang to Dancing Queen in Vegas. Let's just do that, right? But the problem is, Venom just comes across as, oh yeah, I told you about the stakes and why I shouldn't burst out into full Venom. But you fucking do it for a stupid fucking reason. To just dance. Dancing Queen to a Vegas version of it. That's it. That's all it is. There's contradictions. There's this. The connection that has... It's just... The first hour is a mess. It is a mess. Because it has this fascination of not wanting to take its time. Now, it does take its time and has a moment to breathe a little bit in when Eddie bumps into this family that's that's heading to Area 51, and Eddie and Venom, bond with his family and have like the night trip the night trip to Vegas and basically the journey there, and I'm like, this is what we need. I wish most of this movie had those scenes. There's enough to break things in and enough to have a sense of time. There's no sense of time, really. There's no sense of time because, like, you know, stuff has happened. Why? In the span of 5 seconds, things are solved. It's just, like, I get it. People find these movies fun, and also I get it. People are very looking forward to the villain of this movie as well, which is Knull. Knull is a brand new character, and when I mean new, I don't mean like Miss Marvel, who's basically just a toddler compared to the other characters who've been around since like the 60s, like X-Men have been around since the 60s, Spider-Man's been around since the 60s, you know, Daredevil and Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer have been around since the 60s, right? Knull just came out of the fucking womb and we're putting him in a movie already. That's how new he is. And I haven't read the King of Black series. I haven't. The only cause I know from Knull is when Marvel Comics did this whole thing of, you know, teasing the character by the words, by Knull is coming. And it's black and white. It's meant to be, the words are meant to be dripping blood. The background is in space. But because it's black and white, and Knull, and it's meant to be blood, but because it's black and white, and the blood looked white, it looked like Knull. It looked like something else. So it looked like Knull was coming in a different fashion, and then the white is like, he's coming to Earth. I'm like, dude, that's not helping. Like, what's it gonna do? You know, jizz over Earth? Like, we don't want to, you know, goop, you know, Knull goop all over the city. Venom, the Avengers, you need to stop Knull. He's gooping he's jizzing all over the world. God damn it. But people aside with Knull. I probably need to read the King of Black series to understand like people's excitement of like, no, oh my god, Knull's gonna be it's gonna have a live action appearance, right? But the thing about Knull, and clearly there's a mid-credit sequence, clearly they're hinting that they want to use the character more, and they probably will. There's rumors that he's the villain for the next Spider-Man movie. That King of Black is the subtitle for the next Spider-Man movie. So there's rumors on those side of things as well. But clearly they want to use Knull in other things. The problem is with me as like not aware of this character or the context of a movie is Knull does fucking nothing. Knull just sits on his shit. Now I get it, the whole concept was he gets his army, his minions to basically go and hunt down. He's looking for the Codex. And if he gets the Codex, he gets to, you know, destroy worlds and end of the universe as we know it and that type of thing. And it's linked to Eddie and Venom. But it's just like I don't feel a sense of threat because all he does is he sits in his chair. That's all he does. All this motherfucker does. And surprisingly, this movie is the most hard PG-13 I have ever seen. Because, like, people get eaten by these, like, alien creatures, like, Knull's minions, and they get eaten, and their blood shoots out of their head. I'm like, okay. And then, like, one of the characters says motherfucker. And I'm like, this is PG-13, right? In the US, this is PG-13. This is not R-rated, right? Okay, first time when motherfucker is in a Marvel in a Venom movie, and it's rated M. But to be fair, in swear we're a little bit more loosely on swearing and nudity. It's mostly violence is where we get a little bit heavy on. But no, I don't feel a sense of threat. I don't sense a sense of danger because all he does is sit in his chair and talks about how bad he is and how evil he is and all that. And I'm just like, I need to understand why you're this, you know, entity and you know, it's not for me that appealing yet. But hopefully, if the rumors are true and Spider-Man and all kind of stuff, you know, we will. But yeah, but I will lie. But when we hit the third act, it is what you want from it's the last installment of the franchise action sequence. It's like we're throwing the kitchen sink at it. We're going to pretend like if there's never going to be another Venom movie, this is going to be the last action sequence you'll ever see of a Venom movie. And it pulls off. It pulls really well off. And yeah. I mean, clearly I have problems with the movie. A third act, the last 30 minutes isn't going to save a movie for me. Clearly there's some problems I have with the film. But I think it's one of the situations where, like, hey, you kind of know what you're walking into with Venom. It's not Shakespeare. It's not even like probably the best comic movies ever made. No, it's not in that category. But you know what you're walking into, and you know if you're going to probably enjoy it or not, and all that kind of stuff. But if you've seen the movie, comment below, let me know your thoughts.